gospel we have today. It's an interesting story, maybe a story that could even be made into a movie. My Big Fat Jewish Wedding. You have everything in this gospel. Jesus tells a parable about a wedding feast. Unlike most weddings, this one involves a king on top of it all and his son. Some very ornery invitees, a cold-blooded murderer, the destruction of cities, and a ragtag group of afterthought guests that were invited at the last minute. Most surprisingly of all, it's the end of the story. After all the guests have assembled, the king spots a man without a wedding garment and orders that he be shown the door. Actually, a little bit more than being shown the door. He's really severe. He says, bind him up, tie him up, hand and foot, and throw him out into the darkness. In that place, there's going to be a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth. Granted, this ending adds some narrative kick to the parable, but is there more that Jesus wants us to see? What is Jesus talking about today? Perhaps we should retrace our steps a little and rewind the movie. This parable is the third installment in a series of rebukes. Not rebukes against the average person, but rebukes against the Pharisees, against the Sadducees, against the temple elite. Jesus, you'll notice, he never, ever comes down hard on the lady. But, oh my God, when it comes to those in charge of the church, he's tough. He's one tough customer. In this context, Jesus has been teaching in the temple following his triumphant entry into Jerusalem. The chief priests and the elders are irritated as hell by Jesus' popularity with the people. They can't stand it. They are jealous. And they interrupt his homily and demand that he give one good reason why he has the right to open his mouth on their turf. In response to their surliness, Jesus tells the Jewish leaders, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to people that produce fruits. This prediction is illustrated in one parable as the original invited guests, representing those chief priests and those surly Pharisees. The king then sends his servant to invite anyone at all. He doesn't care who will come. He goes out into the streets and tries to grab as many people as he can. The servants do just that, and Matthew notes that the newly invited guests are a real motley crew, made up of both good and bad. This observation creates kind of a tension in the movie. What are all these people coming to the feast for? As we've seen already, the king finds a man at the feast not wearing clothes suitable for a wedding. The wedding garment was a nice set of clothes we used to call our Sunday best, or church clothes that we would wear each and every Sunday. In this case, the guest is without a wedding garment at all, and he's totally underdressed, like a man headed to a woman, or a woman headed to a wedding in a bathing suit with flip-flops. You can kind of get the picture. The dress down would be offensive at any wedding, a sign that the guest is obviously of no significance. This explains the king's quick judicial decision. Jesus has said that the kingdom would be taken away from the Jewish leaders and given to a people that produce good fruits. The wedding feast is an open invitation for each of us. But there is a dress code. Everyone is welcome at the table, but the table changes us totally. And if the table doesn't change us, then there's something wrong. We are not truly guests. We're pretty much wedding crashers. And our lot lies outside with that guy that they threw out. Many are called, Jesus said, but few are chosen. From this parable, I think Jesus wants us to focus on just a few things today. First, the gates of the kingdom are open wide, as we see in this parable. Salvation is not based on your ethnic background, if you're black or if you're white at all. how much education and how many degrees you may have, your popularity in the community, if you're a priest or a deacon, if you've got a great personality, if you're athletic, if you have your sexual orientation is different from another, if you're one of the beautiful people, Jesus does not care at all. Second, though, through the gates of the kingdom, though the gates of the kingdom are open wide, the kingdom still has gates that must be entered into. The kingdom has a few conditions, and Jesus always has a few conditions for us. We must bear fruit. We have a particular kind of clothing to wear at the feast. In the words of St. Paul to the Colossians, we must put on, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts. We have to put on kindness, humility, and the like.